You're listening to the John and Heidi Show. Now, featuring the wit and wisdom of Dan Farris.
Okay, dudes, let's walk this sucker.
On Sunny 93.3.
Sunny 93.3, thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show bonus hour with Mr. Dan Farris. How you doing, Dan?
Good, Heidi. John.
Good morning.
Dan.
Yeah, well, this is a big day. Well, it's summertime, and, we got our little daily celebrations around the country. This is National Celebrate the Daiquiri Day.
Daiquiri Day.
Daiquiris. Are you a daiquiri fan,
No.
Heidi?
They're too sweet.
They were huge at, the 80s. They had another heyday, because I remember
yeah.
I actually worked the hotel business in the 80s, and daiquiris were a big thing,
I
especially
think
for
part of
the
that was
ladies.
Slushies, because Slurpees and Slushies came out.
It would be a frozen daiquiri.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
like a frozen daiquiri kind of thing.
I do like margaritas, but I'm not.
Sort of the same thing, different booze.
Yeah,
Different hooch.
different booze, and they're not sweet.
Interesting history. Invented in the early 1900s in a small mining town of Daiquiri. Town's actually named Daiquiri, near Santiago, Cuba.
I never guessed any of that.
An engineer named Jennings Stockton Cox created the simple drink, named it after the town he was in. He came up with the concoction in an effort to cool down during the summer month with a simple blend of lime juice, sugar, and local rum
a good
over
thing.
cracked ice.
Good thing he named it after the town and not himself.
And he'd whip this stuff up and hand it out, and this is my favorite part. He would hand it out during breaks as a great way to boost the morale of mine workers.
I just can't even imagine
That's
that.
probably a bad
Because
combination.
mining in the early 1900s was super safe, so let's get liquored up
That's why I
and
say it's probably a
do it
bad
even
combo.
bigger. It was such a success, the drink by Mr. Cox, that not only did he receive a generous stipend from the company he worked for, he also received a monthly gallon of rum to continue supplying the refreshing drink.
Ooh.
Wow,
Yes, there you go.
that's crazy.
And it sparked a revolution. Hey, Fidel.
I don't think that had anything to do with daiquiris.
No one has toilet paper.
If you have enough daiquiris, you're just happy right where
Woo,
you're at. So,
communism, yay.
I don't think so. Hey, thanks for listening to Sunny 93.3. Coming up in a bit, we'll have Ranger Dan in here. Also on the way, we've got more fun stuff like some entertainment news and water cooler talk, and I'm sure there's more. It's all on the way on Sunny 93.3.
Do you have a credit card? Is it the very best credit card? Many people get their credit card as a response to an offer that was mailed to you. These are typically not the best cards. Check the fine print for the fees and interest. We have a website that compares many different cards being offered so you can find the one that's the best fit for you. If you'd like to find a better credit card, we'd love to help at bettercreditcards.net. There's no obligation. Just click and compare to see if we can get you a better credit card at bettercreditcards.net.
Sunny 93.3. Time now for Ranger Dan's Critter Corner.
Hi, Ranger Dan.
Good morning, Ranger Dan.
Good morning, Ranger Dan.
I'm rough and ready. I'm a heck of a man. Eat my beans from a big tin can.
He's
Wrestle
Ranger Dan.
bears and eat free ducks. Run over possum in my pickup truck. I'm Ranger Dan. I'm Ranger Dan. Morning, little radio ranger.
Good morning.
We talk about critters, little radio rangers, and critters are critters, big or small. They're all God's little critters.
Yes, they are.
Let's look into the insect world for a moment, shall we? Everyone's familiar with the common ant.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
Ant. When you look now, for instance, I was spraying and killing some underbrush
Right.
the other day, and I noticed when I was spraying that ants were scampering everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I sprayed harder to make sure to take them out too.
So you don't like ants, you're saying?
Animals are unpredictable.
That's one of the...
Little ranger. Little
Thanks for that
ranger.
critter knowledge there, Ranger Dan. It's amazing. I sprayed the ants, and they got mad. They're so unpredictable.
Ranger Dan needs his canteen. Oh, boy. Okay.
I think I need a canteen to make it through this. Sadly, I left mine in the other room.
I'm going to talk about army ants.
Oh, okay. They're a lot better than Navy ants, apparently.
First of all, thank you for your service. But army ants generally get stuff done through sense of smell.
Okay.
They will follow the scent of the ants in front of them.
Oh, wow.
What can happen on occasion, and perhaps you'll stumble across this in your travels, little rangers, that they'll pick up a scent that is incorrect, or ants before them have actually circled around.
Okay.
Well, the ants bringing up the rear will just start following that circle, and they will continue in that circle until they're dead.
Oh, they really?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, because they're military. They just follow rules.
Wowzers.
That's all there is to it, and that's one of those animals or unpredictable things that
they are quite unpredictable.
Somehow you found so dang amusing over there.
Sorry.
So, hey, little radio rangers, listen to your parents, stay in school, eat your vegetables, go to church. Goodness gracious, don't play soccer and don't wear Crocs. I'm Ranger Dan. Out.
Bye, Ranger Dan.
See you later, Ranger Dan. Thanks for listening to Sunny 93.3.
The inventor of Rip It Gloves has been a drywall guy for decades. He was trying to find gloves that worked for him and his crew, but nothing was quite right. So he went out and created some. Rip It Gloves fit firm in your hand and protect your hands, but still allow you to use a touchscreen. Professional athletes love the extra grip Rip It Gloves gives them. Painters, roofers, contractors, but also motorcycle and horseback riders. See why everyone loves Rip It Gloves at ripitgloves.com. Use promo code radio to save 25%. That's RIPIT gloves.com, promo code radio.
Sunny 93.3. Time now for water cooler talk with Mr. Dan Farris.
All right, this is pretty cool, and I'm a little mystified here that I was not even aware this existed, but I need to go see it.
What's that?
Former President Barack Obama is in Rapid City, and apparently he's staying there for a long.
Well, there's a sculpture of him.
That's what I'm talking about.
They've got the presidential sculptures all over Rapid
Here's
City.
the thing that I thought was weird
I
about
did
this.
not know this. How do I not know this?
Oh, yeah.
You been to Rapid lately?
I was at night.
Well, that's why you didn't know.
Dark things were said. Mistakes were made.
Here's the thing that shocks me about this one. It only includes one of his children.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't get that.
It was taken from a photo during his first inauguration, and apparently the design by the sculptor who did this is what the committee picked. It wasn't like they said, well, we're just going to use this data. This is actually from a photo. That's what. So I don't know.
But if they're a good sculptor, they could have either put the other daughter in there or taken the other one out. It's not a very good sculpture if they're like, oh, it's in the photo. Sorry.
In case you don't know, but the Brown statue now portraying former President Barack Obama is up and flying along with his now 18-year-old daughter, Sasha. Mm-hmm. So that's the sculpture, Obama and Sasha. And I saw an image of it. It looks pretty cool. But yeah, it's like all the presidents now with Barack and all the way back. They're all there. And again, I didn't know we had this in South Dakota. How is that
really
even
cool.
possible?
Yeah, and there's also a place called President's Park where they have like giant
That's really
bust,
cool, too.
like a huge heads of the presidents made out of plaster or something.
I'll be darned.
Have you seen that?
You should go check it out.
Well, I think part of the reason is when I travel, number one, my brothers, my mother's and all that are still in the Twin Cities area.
Right.
My kids are in different parts of the country. I mean, I have very little reason to ever just go West River, and I think that's maybe why I'm not aware of some of this stuff. But yeah, I would like to see all these bronze presidents. In case you're wondering, all of these sculptures are privately funded and always have been. So there's no monkey business going on with taxpayer bucks or anything else. And
it's very similar to the sculpture walk in Sioux Falls, but it's all presidential sculptures.
Huh. Okay.
So that's kind of the same, a similar but different thing.
Cool, pretty neat. So I assume JFK is with Marilyn Monroe and Clinton's with an intern, or is
He's
this
looking up
just...
her skirt.
Okay. Heidi Small.
Would you?
Heidi Small.
No, none of that is accurate.
All right, well, there you go. If you're new to the Sioux Falls area and you're looking for touristy things to do, head west.
Here's the thing I think is funny. I've talked to numerous people who, they find out that we live in Sioux Falls, and they say, we might come visit, and then we'll drive over to Rushmore while we're there. Like, yeah, it's like 5 hours from here. They don't realize how far away that is.
Yeah, I was surprised the first time I actually have been at Rapid, and yes, it was at night. And
it's a long drive,
yes,
too.
you made mistakes.
Yeah, but it was a long haul, especially you stop at Wall Drug and you go, really?
Right?
Well, it's
so disappointing.
It's a drugstore. What are you expecting?
Huge.
Yeah.
So, that's what I know. If you were not aware of it or never been, go see, man. All the prezes are there. cast in bronze.
Should be pretty darn cool. Thanks for listening to Sunny 93.3.
Join us for a fun week in Punta Cana, Dominican Republic for the 3rd annual 80s in the Sand. We've been there the last 2 years. In addition to making a bunch of awesome new friends, we had so much fun meeting 80s actors and musicians. 80s in the Sand takes over the entire resort, so you'll mingle with them at the pools and the restaurants too. We'd love to have you join us. See the amazing lineup featuring Sammy Hagar and many more at radiotravelgroup.com. Save $200 per person for first-time guests at radiotravelgroup.com.
Sunny 93.3, thank you so much for listening on a Friday. We've got Dan Bublitz Jr. joining us on the line right now, and he's a very, very funny comedian from St. Paul, Minnesota nowadays. How you doing there, Dan?
I'm doing well. How are you, John?
Doing fantastic. It feels funny for me to say from St. Paul, Minnesota, because I know you're originally from South Dakota, but how are you liking the Twin Cities vibe for comedy? Is it pretty cool?
Yeah, it's pretty good. There's a lot going on up here. There's a lot of shows and open mics and places to perfect the craft, if you will.
I'm excited to see you tonight and tomorrow night in Sioux Falls. You're going to be at Boss's Comedy Club. Now, you've been to Boss's several times, but is this the first time since you've been living in Minneapolis that you're coming back?
It has been. In fact, it's probably been probably a year or so since I've been to the club to perform. Other than, I've popped into an open mic, but to actually be performing, it's been a while since I've been back in the area.
Now, if you don't know Dan Bublitz, here's one of the things you need to know about Dan Bublitz. He's also one of the guys that helped create the Snow Jam Comedy Festival that we've been a part of the last several years, and that thing just gets more and more successful every single year. So congrats on all of the great work that you guys have put into that, and all the efforts have definitely paid off.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely a community effort, and wouldn't be successful if we didn't have all the help that we have.
You are from South Dakota, but you spent some time in San Diego, and you actually helped with a comedy festival there as well. So Dan's got a wealth of comedy knowledge, and the cool thing is you'll get a chance to see him tonight and tomorrow night at Boss's Comedy Club. Now, for people who maybe haven't had a chance to see you perform before, Dan, how do you describe your comedy? What would you say is the best way to sum up your type of comedy?
Oh, I'm kind of a storyteller, an observational comic. I take a lot of my own experiences and try to find the humor in them and then tell them stories.
And the thing that's cool is Dan actually sees the world kind of through a different perspective, and you have a lot of weird things happen to you, don't you?
I have, yeah. I'm kind of a weird dude, I guess. I've got like a rain cloud of weird that just hovers over me.
Well, and Dan and I actually grew up in the same hometown, and I've known him since he was just a little boy, and now he's just a little man with a beard, and he's a funny little man with a beard. But get out and see him tonight and tomorrow night. Dan, thank you so much for taking some time to chat with me, man.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure talking to you and catching up.
And if people would like to find you online, where do they find you? And you've got a podcast, and you've got all kinds of social media presence. Where can they find you online?
Well, I've got my website, which is danbublitz.com. That has all information on all my shows and stuff. And then I also have a podcast that can be found on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get podcasts, called The Art of Bombing.
And The Art of Bombing is a fun concept for a podcast because you talk to other comedians and you talk about maybe not the best not the best experiences they've ever had, but some of the worst, right?
Exactly. That's exactly. It's the podcast is actually dedicated to finding success through failure. I've always known that you learn more from failure than success.
Absolutely.
Look at these bad shows that we've done and then kind of analyze them and break them down and figure out how we can get better. And that's what I talk to other performers about.
Well, if you get a chance, get out and see Dan tonight at Boss's Comedy Club. All the details at facebook.com/sunnyradio. Credit cards, they can be trouble. About 12 years ago, we did a debt snowball program and got rid of our credit cards. We were debt-free except for our house. It was awesome. But over the course of the next decade, our credit score went down. That sounds weird, but they need open accounts to give you a score. Our lower score made our insurance rates go up. We decided to get a credit card to help with that. We just pay it off every month. If you want a better credit card, check out bettercreditcards.net. They'll help you compare all the different cards to get the best one for you. That's bettercreditcards.net. Sunny 93.3, time now for entertainment news of the day with Mr. Dan.
With me, celebrities, a fan. fabulous. Most, if not all, have personal attendants. They have executive assistants. They have drivers for their mighty fine vehicles. They get driven around. They get chauffeured around. They get led around by the nose. So every now and again, they decide to drive themselves and normally get into an accident. And they always look surprised when the paparazzi's there in their face and go, oh, I'm going to go to rehab now. Hey, this guy has been around for 227 years. Larry King. Can you remember life without Larry King? Because I can't.
Right.
Oh, I remember Larry King. He's a funny guy.
Yep. Larry King's a funny guy.
He really is. Larry King? From Larry King Live?
You must have been watching something different.
Who are you talking about?
He's got a really good sense of humor. He's a very funny guy.
I guess I missed the joke for about 50 years.
Have you seen, he was on, was it Jimmy Kimmel or one where they read the tweets?
Is
mean
he
tweets?
kidding me?
No, I'm serious. There's one where it's mean tweets, and there was he was reading it. He had to read a tweet where it said, I saw Larry King is reading this. He says, I saw Larry King at the restaurant tonight. Either that or it was just another run-of-the-mill goblin. Somebody said that about Larry King.
Well, he just got out of a medical facility, been there for about 6 weeks, another major heart attack, and he's bounced right back, and he's getting back on the air. The 85-year-old, he's only 85, really?
I thought he was older than that.
I did, too. Stunning turnaround is great news for friends and family who feared the ailing star, was dead.
Oh, I'm glad that he's okay. That's cool.
He's been in and out of the hospital numerous times with chest pains, this time following a heart attack. Spent most of May and June in a recovery center in L.A., according to a source, because we all have sources. Mm-hmm. He's back at home, hanging around, getting ready to go back to work, taking it easy. He's like infomercials now or something, right?
Yeah, he'll do these things where...
And he's a spokesman for Squatty Potty.
Is he really?
Is he?
You bet. It was him and Kathy Griffin, but she lost that gig. You have to effort to lose your gig with Squatty Potty.
Potty.
I did an interview with her, and I did not even ask her about Squatty Potty.
Well, there you go. You better call her back, John.
No. Here's the funny thing.
So Larry King is going to be fine, and with any luck, he'll get married for the 9th time. So
all the way through the interview, she kept
nice. Good
talking to me like we've talked before, but we'd never talked before. So I think she had me mistaken for someone else.
That's what celebrities do. They invented the air kiss. Love you, darling.
I'm going to have to find a little clip to show Mr. Dan Farris over here about Larry King.
I have never in my life heard anybody say, hey,
he's a hoot.
He's funny.
Me either.
Okay.
Oh, Larry King,
Not
he's funny.
once.
I like that guy. He's funny.
We thinking of somebody
I like
different?
jokes. They're funny.
Stop looking at me. Thanks for listening to Sunny 93.3.